Hey guys, Terence here again with Paul. It's another episode, 2 days in a row of Let's Talk Reef. It is Black Friday kickoff, Paul.
The Black Friday edition of Let's Talk Reef. I'm excited.
Yep, we're here at my place in front of my aquarium. I'm just so passionate about the hobby, and I love coming here for Let's Talk Reef, Paul, and sharing. You know, a big part of having an aquarium is sharing the aquarium.
Yes.
I mean, there's a pride in when you have things and can show them off. And I hope you guys, this hour that we're going to spend with you right now, or up to an hour, maybe we'll show you around a little bit in my aquarium so I can gloat a little and just have.
I was thinking to myself, right? You know, we almost missed the kickoff here because both you and I are just like staring at corals that we've stared at 100 times before.
Looking at the fish go by.
Looking at fish, right? It's
bunch of new wrasses that I have in here now. Hey, any of you guys out there, if you want to in the comments later in the live stream, see how many of the fish you can name off, and maybe we'll have a contest around that. Whoever names off in like one comment the most amount of the fish that are actually in my tank.
They need to do scientific names, or
no scientific, but they have to be specific. They can't say like Anthias or Wrasse. They've got to say, even if it's the common name for the.
That might be cool. We should maybe.
They could say Squamopinus, or they could say, what is it? Is it just an orange Anthias?
Orange lyre-tail Anthias.
Lyre-tail, orange lyre-tail, right?
Yes.
There, I gave one away for you for free.
So, Terence, we're here, right? It's 12 a.m. on the East Coast right now.
That's right.
Why are we doing a Let's Talk Reef at 12 a.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific?
It is Black Friday, at least Neptune style.
Neptune is starting Black Friday. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes. Due to popular requests, beginning last year, we started the Black Friday season a day early. Some people started a week early. We were generally always starting it on Friday. When we first started doing these, we started them on Friday, and I think we only
Friday,
did them,
12 a.m.
And I think the first time we did it, it was only Friday.
Yes.
Then we did Friday through Sunday. Then we did Friday through, I think, Monday, and now it's Thursday through Monday.
Yes. So what are we doing, Terence? Why should people be excited about Neptune Systems Black Friday?
Well, first of all, because we hardly ever have our stuff go on sale.
No.
So that's the first thing, and it is often funny to see people because at some of our events we actually will give a sale at the event for a certain very small amount of product that we might have at the booth.
Right.
And it's funny because we'll have people come by the booth and they will want to buy, but then they'll walk away, and you know they're going and they're searching on the internet, right, to try to find a better deal.
And there is not a better deal, right?
You're getting a discount, at the event already. You're not going to find a better deal out there.
And then you try to get out of sales tax or something like that, right? But it is the best deal you will have.
This time of year is the best deal you're ever going to have. First of all, since last week, we had the Core 20 pump. Since last Friday, it's $50 off.
Yes.
Okay, so that's
already a great value pump.
Yes, it is an amazing pump. This thing was rated by BRS as the top pump, the number one pump for mid-size aquariums or whatever. I think we tied with the Abyss pump, which is, if you're going to be tied with somebody. For the best pump of 2019.
That's quite a pump to be compared
both
to.
Orange pumps, I must say. They both have orange in them.
That might have something to do with it. But I think really the great thing about the Core 20, right, is just how many applications it will fit.
Yes.
Right?
That is true.
And it can go to a very low level of intensity for small tanks or for applications that don't need a lot of flow. Yes. Or it can go to high volume intensity for a DC pump, right? Quite well.
One of the things when we were deciding on how to do a DC pump, with most companies you'll see just a myriad of pumps, from tiny little ones all the way to big ones, and a lot of customers have analysis paralysis on which pump they think they need, and many customers think they need the biggest pump that they can possibly buy. And what we tried to do was, what's the 80% of people going to need and use, and not make something too big that it's noisy, and not have something too small that not many people are going to buy. And the Core 20 and the Core 15 that's why we settled on those two pumps. And the Core 20, one of the really cool parts about it is the first standalone. Is the first or second? Was it ATK before that? I'm not even sure.
ATK was before.
Was it? So it's a second.
ATK V1 was before. ATK V2 came later, but
so it is the second standalone product that we manufacture. So that means even if you don't have an Apex, you can use, and there are a lot of customers out there that have not decided to jump in, with both feet into the Apex world yet.
That's okay, you will.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And you can just plug it in and you're good to go.
Right. So it's a pump that has buttons on it where you can control the intensity of it, right? And we're really getting into the weeds on the core. I think people just want to know about the rest of the deals. Let's talk about it a little bit later.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Because both of us are just starting geeking out.
I know
about it. We need to stay focused.
Well, we also have questions too, right? That
yeah.
will, I'm sure, are going to help guide us into this too. I hope tonight's full of questions from you guys. Oh, look at this! All these people already. Wow,
guys, that's awesome.
It's crazy. Yeah. I don't know why our user count's not showing up lately, but oh well. I know there's a bunch of you guys out there.
I'm sure you can tell the Ecamm guys. They can't wait to hear from you.
Yeah. So the Core 20, $50 off. That's a great deal. Normally $349.95. Now
$300.
Now it's $300.
It's $300 and so that's more than 10% off.
Correct.
Yes.
And then the next thing is the ATK version 2.
Okay.
Which is $30 off.
Right.
So that is normally $200. That's about a 15% savings over the normal price. And this is the version 2 of the ATK.
It's $160.
It is $169.95.
Oh, I'm sorry, $170. Okay,
yes.
Sorry.
So it's $30 off a normal $200 price.
Okay, cool.
So,
and that comes with enhanced optical sensors, which we'll talk a little bit more later, right? And that comes with the PMUP V2 as well, which has auto water detection, has
auto shut off,
all
temperature sensing. And like 14 or 17 feet of head pressure? I can't remember. But it goes up more than most people's tanks will ever need.
Yes. It's not about volume, but it definitely can get the job done.
Correct. Correct. So that's the ATK V2, and that one's been on sale already as well.
Okay. Now drum roll for the next thing.
Yes. Drum roll. Yes.
All right.
So every single product except the Trident, a little exception, is 10% off from now until midnight on Monday.
10% off the entire product line.
Entire product line while supplies last.
Okay.
So that's the thing, because none of these guys are going to be able to get more inventory in the online guys, and the guys in the stores, maybe if they're like down the street, maybe on Monday, like Robert could get more, from Neptune Aquatics, but pretty much the inventory they have is the inventory they have, and then the sale's going to be over.
It's 10% off all Neptune Systems products.
Yep.
Right, with the exception of Trident and reagents.
Yep.
For all the way until Monday at midnight.
That is correct.
Okay. So that's.
And look, we've got Adam Monte here says, Adam from BRS says, Neptune Systems is on sale live right now at the BRS site. So go on out there.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. I know that Ken from saltwateraquarium.com, I'm sure Ken has his stuff live.
He was ready.
So that's saltwateraquarium.com, and of course Marine Depot is out there online right now. If you can find a local fish store that's open right now. So we're talking East Coast especially. I mean, maybe those guys are...
if you have their cell phone number, they probably want you to text them right now.
That's true.
That you want to get Neptune Systems products at 10% off.
This is true.
They definitely, if you have your local fish store owner's cell phone number, he wants a text right now asking about Neptune Systems.
Now, another interesting thing, Paul, Tommy B just said it right here. He's like, just scored a Trident because a lot of these guys out there have been holding all their Trident stock for Black Friday.
So, Neptune Systems hasn't been asking it, right? But we wanted to definitely make an experience for Black Friday where that product that you're looking for, that product that you were hoping that you would get for the holiday season, you would have it available, right? And so there are going to be a lot of Tridents up for grab. BRS made a big push on that earlier this week to kick off Black Friday, right? So a lot of people scored Tridents then, and there's going to be a lot more Tridents available for the rest of this weekend. So local fish stores have stocked up on Tridents, right?
I wouldn't wait till Saturday though, Paul.
No.
I would not wait till Saturday.
If you see one available right now and you're looking for one, buy now.
Yes.
Okay? But your local fish stores have stocked up. I saw a lot of our platinum resellers, right? FJW, Dallas North, to name Neptune Aquatics, right? Have all been posting pictures of walls of Tridents that become available on Friday.
So yeah, we tried to, we throttled a little bit of the Tridents up before Black Friday out to the stores in order that we could create a huge amount available for everybody so they could have a really good experience at Black Friday. Crazy though, you know, because the Black Friday does start for a lot of these places last Friday, right? It's Black Friday week. So Bulk Reef Supply actually put their Tridents up for sale last Friday.
Yes.
And I'm going to say they had huge amounts. We're talking pallets of Tridents, okay?
And I think one thing to mention here too, Terence, is we didn't scale back or hold back Tridents, right?
No.
We were always delivering the same amount of Tridents,
Yes.
but our team has been working, our production team was
Overtime.
working so hard.
Overtime.
They
Saturdays.
wanted to make a great holiday experience for all of you,
Yes.
right? And coming in on Saturdays, I think even they came in Sunday one day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they were just killing it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And super focused, and we're all going to have a great holiday weekend because of it.
Yep. But if you want a Trident and you're listening to this right now, I would not wait because those pallets from BRS sold out in an hour and a half. An hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
So it's definitely now's the time.
But they're not the only one with pallets. They're not the only one.
Oh, of course not. No,
so they are out there, guys.
They are out there.
The unicorns.
If you saw the saltwateraquarium.com live stream, you saw Mr. Saltwater Tank, Mark Callahan, standing in front of a wall of Tridents that all had personalized graphics. Did you see some of those personalized graphics?
I love...
Like a snowman with a Trident?
Yes.
That was so creative.
He what's his name? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. But the artist there at Saltwater Aquarium, he has a lot of fun doing that stuff.
Yeah,
You know, and I think he's really enjoyed putting all those out there.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we're getting a lot of comments.
A lot of comments. I'm loving the the engagement here, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. George makes a good point, and this is
my boy George K from Canada and Ottawa. Yep.
So he makes a good point.
Manitoba.
It's you know, one of the things, you know, a lot interesting thing too on Reef to Reef today. They took a step to actually request that nobody try to sell for over MSRP the Tridents on their particular site. And there's a lot of back and forth of whether or not they should do that, and it's all interesting. But you know, from our perspective, we really have not slowed down. We've actually increased and doubled or tripled or whatever the production of Tridents.
Yeah.
But the demand just keeps increasing.
It hasn't slowed down at all.
It hasn't.
I mean, guys, we knew Terence knows is very good at what he does, right?
Well,
and
thank you,
you know,
Paul.
and
Make me blush.
Yeah, and you know, we knew the demand was out there, but it's exceeded all of our expectations. Even the most pessimistic person in our company all of us has been very exceeded.
Yeah, and the thing is too is I think what's happening out there is people are actually seeing the results. I mean, there's many products that you buy in the industry that are cool, that have great features, that have that give you flow in your tank, and they kind of help you with your aquarium or kind of help you make a better aquarium. This is one of the first products, I think, where our customers, it's not coming from us as us bloviating about how great the product is. Our customers are telling us, this changed my way of reef keeping. This made me not have to worry about this, and my corals are just growing like crazy because of the stability in my aquarium by having the Trident do the testing and by having the dose or my calcium reactor do the adjustments. And I think what's happening right now is all of the early adopters, you know, that are kind of the easy sale, so to speak. These are people who love our products, who know we're going to have great products, and they're always going to buy our stuff, right?
Our control freaks, yeah.
All the control freaks, you know, they bought the product, they started using it, and they started telling their friends, and moreover, their friends start seeing the results. And that has just created a whole other wave of people that have realized that this is the way to go. So it is surprising, and we're going to see how fast things sell through on Black Friday.
Yeah,
and how long this is going to go on for, you know?
Yeah, we didn't, you know, we knew this demand was just going to keep going for the first couple months, but at some point we were like, okay, so we can now start thinking about other things, and so, but the singular focus has had to remain the Trident, just because the success has been that good. You know, I've experienced it myself. I think your results speak for themselves as well.
It's definitely changed for my aquarium. It has changed for me because I use a calcium reactor.
I know, yeah.
And there isn't a task yet in Apex Fusion for the calcium reactor. So a few of us, kind of crazy, you know, I guess a trailblazer kind of people, myself, Dwayne, others, have decided to find ways to control things like the CO2 level in our calcium reactor based on the Trident results. And we've had some really great results out of that.
It speaks for itself.
Yeah, if you guys saw the if you saw the opening shot of where the countdown was. This, you know, where we are now is the tank now.
I'm looking at it there all of a sudden.
So you can see right now it's growing out of the water. And to let you know, Robert from Neptune Aquatics came over 3 months ago.
And you guys tore it all up.
Yeah, we basically cut the top 3 inches or more off. And Robert laughed at me and said, Terence, you realize that I'm going to be back in like 2 months getting more frags from you because this is just going to keep growing like crazy. And sure enough, you can see in the tank, if you were to look close, you can see where those 3-inch marks are, and it's already out of the water again.
Yeah.
So if you guys have a calcium reactor or a dose, and you match it up with a or both, and you match it up with a Trident, you're going to see some incredible results.
You know, we've been getting a lot of requests. You know, hey, how can my calcium reactor be tuned to this, right? And you know, first off, right, the issue is calcium reactors themselves, right, there's a lot of different variability, right? So you can adjust the pH, you can adjust the flow
rate,
you can adjust all these different things, right? And so there's a lot of question of which is the best way to do it, right? Well, you're adjusting the pH in yours,
level,
right?
Yes.
But, you know, the whole kind of concept, too, the engineering department has sort of brought is, you know, let the calcium reactor do 90% of the job, right? Let that be the base, you know? So that's always basically what your tank will at minimum need.
Right.
Then, you know, flex in with a dose, right, to be able to push on the gas when you need more fluid, or push on the brakes when you need less.
Right. The other reason to have that is like an incident I had when I was in Ecuador. I ran out of CO2
I remember,
in my tank, which in a tank like this, I'm going to drop 1.5 to 2 DKH a day if I have nothing, right?
Yes.
And that means catastrophe in 2 days.
Right.
And so I had on there I had a dose, and I had my Trident fluid on there. And when I saw that I started to get alarms, I immediately went on and started and just bumped up, you know, to like 400 or 500 milliliters a day, the Trident system. The
consumption that starts to happen once you start to tune in and make that stability happen, which is something that our product line offers, right?
Right.
Is that same thing happened to me. I was out for maybe 6 hours of additive, right? I was bone dry.
And you have like a 60-gallon tank?
34-gallon tank.
Oh, it's 34 gallons.
It's a 34-gallon tank, okay?
Right.
I can show you the graphs and everything, and I can try to find the event. I dropped almost a DKH in 6 hours.
Wow.
Right. And it was prime time, you know, it was peak life cycle, right? And, you know, and I'm measuring every 3 hours with my Trident, right? So I saw the test 1 to 4, and then I was like, uh-oh. And then I saw that test, and then I saw the test next, and it was just plummeting down.
Right. And the, you know, calcium reactor, if you're really serious, is the way to go.
It is.
It really is the way to go.
Well, for tanks 60 to 70 gallons or more, absolutely.
It's just a stability kind of thing. Anyway, there's another shot of my tank going from there. That's another live cam. That one's actually live, guys.
This is right now.
Yeah. So if you guys want to try to like sketch down on a piece of paper what, you know, all those fish are, you can start to see a few more of the fish. If I actually get up right now, it'll probably
he's getting mobile, guys.
So probably now you'll see most of the fish right in here because they'll all come in because they think I'm going to feed them. Here they come.
Oh, here they come.
Oh, look at that one, Paul. I'm not going to say what it is, but that's one of your favorites right there.
I know.
In the middle of the screen. We're not going to give them any hints. They're coming in. Look.
How many different fairy wrasses do you have in this tank right now?
There's probably, I don't know, 10. I
think you have 10 different fairy wrasses in this tank. I was trying to find them all earlier. I saw one right before we got started.
Well, I had a pair of flame wrasses before that were full super male and female, and just mysteriously lost them, and I'm very sad about it. It's one of my favorite fish, and if you look at that countdown, you actually will see them on the countdown.
I know.
The one flame wrasse, and so now I have well, I shouldn't say, I guess, but but we're trying to rebuild. Let's just say. and have some new wrasses in here and try to compete. So for those of you that don't know, Harkins Aquatics is why we're writing them down. I basically said, look, I'm going to find a way to give something away. Probably it's be pretty cool.
I mean, you're doing live streams all weekend long, right? Yes,
we're going to be doing every other day kind of a thing. So we're going to be doing a live stream at Neptune Aquatics in San Jose at 1 p.m. On Friday. So on Black Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to be live there. As it stands right now, we're going to set up an Apex live on the live stream.
Yes, showing off the new app.
Showing off the new app, showing how easy it is.
With someone who's never set up an Apex.
Not me doing it, somebody else doing it, and show you how simple it is to set one up. And then on Monday, on Cyber Monday, we'll be back. I'll have you on again, and we'll do another Let's Talk Reef on Monday to close out the sale. See how things are going, and it's for those that were asking. The reason that you guys should write down like all the fish is do one post that has all the fish names in it. I'll look through all the comments.
One post. So just like you just naming the blue hippo tang,
that's nice.
That was really hard, but
that's nice. But Drama D, for instance, who's naming these off one by one, I'm not going to go through and see if you got them all. At some point, right near the end of the stream, just type them all in on one comment. And whoever gets the most of them right, I've got probably a swag pack, and who knows what other goodie I'll send your way. But there's a lot of different fish in the tank, and some of them are a little tricky. Some of them are a little tricky.
Some of them I didn't know.
A couple of the wrasses are a little tricky too.
Yeah. Some of the wrasses are interesting.
This guy is really cool. That's one of my favorite. You see the streamers?
Yeah, I know.
That's actually a she.
I know. I said she. Yeah. Come on.
and she has streamers coming on, which is super cool.
She is nice. So Terence, if someone's just joining us, we're here today at midnight, 12 Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific, because all Neptune Systems products, with the exception of the Trident, is 10% off. Tridents should be hitting the market and the online resellers right now in droves, right? So the demand is very high. I don't expect Tridents to remain in stock very long. So now is your opportunity, right now, if you're watching this live stream, to go pick up a Trident.
Yep, absolutely. Get out there, get the Tridents, because they're not going to be around for that long. And one thing I want to talk about too, I've got it sitting over here next to the core pump.
The Core 20.
There's the Core 20. But I want to talk about the Apex EL for a second here.
Apex EL. This is one of our newer system offerings.
Right. So the original Apex that came out a couple of years ago has everything in it. The Apex EL is the entry-level system. And it comes with the base unit, it comes with the Energy Bar 832, the same one that comes with the full-blown Apex. Has 8 controllable outlets and 8 outlets that you can measure the power on, right, and get alerts and whatnot. And it comes with a temperature probe and a double-junction pH probe.
Right.
And so it is the perfect entry-level system for somebody, and today, right now, they have them everywhere for $450.
$450 gets you into the Neptune Systems ecosystem.
With an amazing controller.
Temperature monitoring, the bar none most important possible thing you can monitor in the aquarium. Gets you pH monitoring. Right? It gets you 8 outlets of on-off control. And those just aren't just normal outlets. Those are what we call smart outlets, right? These are outlets that that monitor the...
Hey, why don't you show that right here?
The power consumption.
Why don't you show that? Because we have the power here, Paul, to show your dashboard right there.
So this is my aquarium right now, and my heater is
Trent
on.
goes, is that my Apex EL? Actually, Trent, it is.
No, we shipped it today,
Did
Trent. We shipped it already.
Oh, you shipped a different one?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not yours. But it was going to be yours, but I took it.
It was yours. If we would have said that the one that was
last... Trent
won an Apex L last night. Awesome experience for a feel-good moment. Neptune Systems generated almost more than $2,000 for the Toys for Kids Reef to Reef drive, right? And it wasn't because of us; it was because of all you great control freaks that were joining in last night on that
to raise money for the kids for their toys.
And so all we were doing, we're giving away T-shirts and different swag packs and things like that
for donations.
And you guys really pulled it out.
Yep.
You know, we really appreciate that. Anyways, so right now it has the power monitoring per outlet.
So this is Paul's tank at the office.
Right. And so, you know, not much is running right now, but it is cold in the office. And I keep my tank pretty cold too at about 76 degrees.
Okay.
But my 100-watt heater turns on about every hour and a half during the winter, which is what we are in now. It's almost 40 degrees outside in California.
It's going to be frigid tonight.
You know what I saw on the hills? Snow.
Really?
I saw snow on the hills this morning.
Yeah, that won't last.
I know. Anyways, so you can see the power consumption. So specifically, my 100-watt heater is running 91 watts. That's completely normal. It's very rare that you would see a 100-watt heater run 100 watts. Right. That's because it's not completely efficient. Right. You would have a coefficient of power consumption that would be 100% efficient. Is very difficult to do. Right. So 91 watts is very common. 92 watts, 95
on
watts.
On a 100-watt heater.
Now, if I saw it was running 80 watts, that wouldn't be normal. Right. And I could set an alert letting me know that, hey, this heater is not pulling the amount of power that it normally should pull. Right. And it's incredibly easy to do this. Right. All I need to do is run it. What do you think I have to do to do this, Terence?
A task, of course.
Yes, so I'm going to click on a task, right, which is the clipboard button right here next to the gear. Okay, let me turn on my little, oops, not that.
So while he's doing that, every single one of the 8 controllable outlets on the Energy Bar 832 that comes with your Apex EL at $450 are all have the power monitoring on them and the ability to get alerts and everything else. You know, I know for quite some time people keep asking for a more economical controller. And I know that we have been kind of pigeonholed in like it's way too expensive. It's too expensive. It's too expensive.
You know, I listen to all the customer feedback, and in terms of a negative thing that's said about Neptune Systems, too expensive is by far one of the most common things.
And I think this is my fault in a way because evidently I'm not telling people enough about the Apex EL.
Yes.
Okay, at $500 normally, $450 here on Black Friday weekend, and you get 8 controllable outlets, the 2 probes, the Apex Wi-Fi system, all of that together. And the thing is that you know there are systems and devices that come around every year. There's a new one every year.
Yep.
They come, they go. It's kind of funny in a way, except for the poor people that end up picking them up.
Yeah.
But you really have to pay attention to the value that you're getting because you can pay $50, $80, $100 less than the Apex for something. Or the Apex EL, and you're really not getting the same thing.
I mean, and part of it is, Terence,
it can be called a controller.
Right, and part of it is, too, is that, it's not that you're just getting the Apex L, right? It's that you're getting into the Neptune Systems ecosystem.
That's true.
Right? And, one thing that we...
And the community.
Right, and the community that's involved, right? And all the support that you're going to get from that, right? And when you have so many control freaks out there willing to help you, you're going to be able to do things with your aquarium that you never thought possible. Right? And you can just kind of think it.
Well, that's kind of scary. That's one of the things, too, Paul, is that it's really scary for a lot of people to come into any kind of controller, right?
Yes.
Like ours or anybody else's. But when you have tens of thousands of control freaks out there, already, this isn't a brand new thing, right? And so, I mean, if you were going out and being one of the first 100 to buy some brand new device out there,
that'd be scary.
That would be scary. But you got tens of thousands of people who are all out there ready to help you. They're willing to help you. It's a great community, whether it's our forum or our Facebook group. And that's a big deal. And, $50 here or there,
Right. I mean, especially at a time like this, the Apex L450, you're not going to get a better deal, right? For a value.
Value
there. And
the 8 outlets is just part of the Energy Bar. It's called the 832 because it has 8, 120 volt outlets.
Power control.
It's got 3 of the 1-link outlets, which means you don't have to have a power supply for things like your dose.
The Trident.
For the Trident, for the wave pumps.
Right, for the Core 15.
For the Core 15.
Right.
So you can clean up all of that around your tank that you don't have to have the power bricks
Just think of how many power bricks you have, in your aquarium. If you're running Neptune Systems products, you have 3 less power bricks right there.
Boom on the Wave. What's the Wave today? That's what, $179 usually? I think
it's $174.95 usually.
$174.95.
So
you're going to get $17.50 off of it.
$150 for a power head
just
that can do
over
almost 4,000 gallons per hour.
That's like the craziest deal ever. You know what the biggest crazy deal is though? The dose DDR combo.
Because so the dose DDR. So
yes.
this is all the.
This is inside info.
This is all the stuff that you can get into because you make that Apexel purchase.
Right.
So the dose DDR, we already bundle that together for you. So if you buy the dose and you buy the DDR, the dose is our Neptune Systems dose product.
Correct.
Right? We have talked about that till we're long in the face, right? But it is by far one of the most popular Neptune Systems products.
Absolutely.
Right. For normally $300, you get 2 dose heads, right? That can run from 7 milliliters a minute up to 250 milliliters a minute, which means it can do drops or gallons.
Correct.
So it can
Water
do
change
additive dosing.
or additives.
It can do your water changes. It can do your automatic, your liquid feeding.
Yep.
Right. It can do all these different things. And then there's the DDR, right? The DDR, there is not a slicker piece of acrylic in terms of housing your additives.
Yeah.
It has automatically also connects that into the dose, right? And then it has optical sensors that'll let you know when you're less than 20% of additive.
Right.
Right? Which I should have had when I ran out of alkalinity a couple weeks ago.
So the dose is normally $300.
Yes.
The DDR is normally $200.
Yes.
That's $500 normally.
Normally.
But we sell them always as a bundle for $450.
$450. Now, 10% off.
$405.
$405 for
that
a
is
dose
the
DDR.
bargain of the day by far that I think most people aren't paying attention to. $405. That's basically like getting a DDR for $100.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Okay. Go look at some other additive containers. They're not going to be. They're not even going to hold a candle.
So people are asking to go back to the tank. Okay, can we go back to the tank? For those of you out there, that name off some of the fish, right, or all of the fish that you can. Okay, and that'll be a little kind of giveaway that we'll do. And let me go back to the tank here for a little bit. And let's see on. Let's just keep naming those off, but put them all on one and don't be generic, okay? You need to say, this is a RAS, okay, instead of just saying it's a flasher RAS, and put it all on one. Oh, look at that one. I know what that one is. And I know what that one is too.
I don't like that one.
They're not seeing that one because it's in the mini cam there, so you have to go to the main shot to see those we're seeing. But yeah, put them all in one thing. I tell you what, let's go around. Maybe some people want to look at some coral. Let's put it back on the tank. And Paul, you give the play-by-play, okay?
I don't know all the names of your coral.
Yeah, you do.
On,
yeah,
dude.
you do.
No, I don't. Because you know how I feel. You know how I feel about naming coral in general. Right.
So just because we're having fun here, originally in this, am I seeing the tank? Okay.
Yeah.
So originally this tank was going to be SPS on the left. And it was going to be LPS on the right. But if you notice, I got these big striped blackfish that Paul hates here. And those fish are Heniochus butterflies, which are
terrible
reef
fish.
Safe with caution.
Terrible fish is what they are.
And I love them because they are the epitome of a saltwater aquarium, and they're beautiful. And I love them. And I got them when they were about 2 inches, maybe, and now they're a good 6 inches across.
All the superlatives you just said, I disagree with all of them.
But what ends up happening is that they ate all my LPS except for some of the torch corals. And so I just said, the heck with it. I like those fish better than I like LPS. And so I turned the right side here into SPS. So you
did that about, 9-10 months ago?
Yeah, it's ongoing. But yes, most everything over here started as the biggest pieces over here started as a frag about a year ago. And the smaller pieces started, probably 6 months ago, some even sooner than that. Right now the tank is kind of set up really white because of the filming.
Right, it looks blue. A little. Well, this is normally your peak light during the middle of the day.
Yeah, I have them set to 100% right now. And let's see here. Maybe I have the power of Apex, guys. So maybe we can actually change that, and you can see what all blue looks like. How about that? So anyway, I have over here, that's a red dragon. That's a Dippin' Dots. And all the hardcore people are going to be like, oh, you need to give the scientific name. This is, I think, a yellow...
The Acropora?
Yeah, the Acroporas. This is a Paletta. This is a leftover right there of my, that's the hammer coral there is a leftover of the LPS that was over here.
The LPS island.
Yes, the LPS island, that it was so encrusted in there I didn't have the heart to break it out of there. And now the flow is kind of taking care of it for me. Let's go turn that off. Let's go to just blue. Now we'll get a little conversion here. I've got up there a granulosa that is absolutely incredible. I don't know what that looks like on camera, Paul. Probably not so great.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah?
It doesn't look good.
Yeah. You know what it needs? You know what it needs? It needs glasses.
It needs the, yep. It needs the coral
glasses.
It needs the polyp lab.
Let's see if this will work. Does that help?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go.
Look at that.
Anyways.
So
they're asking about what type of lights you have, Terence.
I have the first incarnation of the Coral Care lights from Philips. They are amazing lights. They basically cover the tank in all sorts of light. There are no shadows in the tank. There's 4 of them over the tank. That's actually a Walt Disney. It's kind of green in my tank. I don't know exactly why. Let me put it back to 100% on the other lights because I like it better myself. Yeah. They are the original ones, so they don't have as much blue as the version kind of like 1.5. So I added Reef Bright strips in here to bump it up, to bump up the kind of the blue level on it. And yeah, I mean, I love the lights. I think they're incredible lights. One of the things that's amazing about them is you don't get the shadowing.
You don't get any shadowing with them. They have a lot of power. They grow coral very well, as you can see.
And you can take pictures, and they come out.
One thing I like about these lights, though, too, there's not a lot of settings with them. It's just 2 channels.
Very good point. You know? So one of the key things is that you basically have a, for lack of a better word, blue channel and a white channel. It's really not blue and white. Because there's all sorts of other colors in there. But no matter what you pick, it's going to be healthy for the corals, the way that they've designed it. And really what it does is it's not like putting the sun over your tank, it's like putting the sky over your tank.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just this blanket of light, and you notice there's no disco ball. So it's really a cool light, and I have 4 of them over my tank. If I had to light this tank with radions, it'd take me 8 radions, don't you think, Paul?
Oh, it'd take more than that.
You think?
I think so. On this tank, the way that you have all the growth in the coral now, when you first started, you might have been okay with 8. I think you would have to be at 12 now.
Well, the thing too is that you can get the tank is 32 inches wide. So if you look at that green slimer,
yeah,
the green slimer goes basically from 4 inches on one side to 3 inches from the glass on the other. And so it's shadowing a ton of stuff. And if you had just one radion or one other light over the middle, there's no way that would work. But anyway, you know, that's a lot of talk about the aquarium. I know you guys, you know, are geeks like me, and I love showing it off. And, you know, we have Control Freak Wednesday. My stuff, the underside of my stuff is not in a way that I'd be proud of.
I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool to, like, get on one of the iPhones and go down to the basement and show how this all actually comes together? And then I was like, no, Terence wouldn't want to show that off.
I am the cobbler whose children have no shoes.
Yes.
In that regard, I have wires going everywhere, and sooner or later it's going to get fixed.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm back.
Yeah. So the question for me is: it going to get wrapped first, or are you going to clean up your wires?
Well, that's the other thing too, is that I don't have any kind of cabinetry around the bottom or the top. Right. So, and that's a sore spot with the family.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Like, it
is pretty ghetto.
It's been like a couple months since I've been over here, and I was over here a couple weeks ago.
The tank has been on a stand for 4 years now.
I know. I was over here a couple weeks ago. I'm like, oh gosh, how have you not wrapped this thing yet? You know. I was already also going to give you some trouble too about your LPS island versus SPS island, how you failed at the LPS.
Yes,
island.
I did.
But you fessed up to it already.
I did. I made the choice. You know.
Anyway, so. But you do that with a full apex, right? With
a lot of stuff.
You know, all in all, Terence, you know, your tank setup. I think I can show how many modules you have here. If you want to go over here,
yeah.
You really don't have that. I mean, I've seen a lot of tanks. What's your tank called again? 045.
It's 425.
Yeah, that's it. Did you stop trusting me? Oh, there it is.
No, you're there.
Yeah, there it is. you really don't have that many.
I don't know, Paul. I have quite a few modules.
32.
That's not that much?
It's not that much.
It's not the geekiest of control freaks?
I mean, some of these guys, they get a lot of gadgets, right? And a lot of the thing about with your gadgets too, you have 6 waves in this tank, right? So, it's because of the size of the tank, right? And then you have, I think 2
By
or 3
the way, for
dose
those of
in the
you
tank.
out there that are thinking of flow, if you set up your substrate so that you can get as much flow as possible, run the waves, run them and run them and run them, and your corals will love you for it. As much as the lighting has been part of the success for this tank,
it's the flow. No, I was sitting here and I'm just like, I was thinking about it as I was watching it. It's you have 2 waves just right here next to me. I think you have 6 total in this tank, and you have them all pretty much on the back wall. I think you will have one on a side wall, and so that creates a great gyre that's always moving like this. And
every hour for 5 minutes, they all go to 100%.
I know. And part of what makes it successful with an SPS tank is the momentum, right? If you have a pump that's just like soft and broad, like a lot of pumps out there, which create great flow in an empty tank, right? It's good, but it's when you have that momentum that you have a tank that can actually continue to keep good flow.
There are a lot of pumps out there that, depending, so it's like this too. It's like there's an application almost for anything. Like for instance, you've said before, like right behind my rock stacks, it'd be great to stick an MP60 there.
Yeah, that's one.
And the reason for that is because an MP60 has a lot of flow, but it's a broad flow. So if you stuck an MP60 on the side of my tank and expected it to get flow at the other end of the 8 feet, you're not going to get that much. And with the wave pumps, they have a very concentrated level of flow so that you can bounce them off the glass and do things with them to put the flow where you want. So it's about picking the right kinds of pumps and putting them where you want. And there's a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to put a wire in the tank, or I don't want to see that they're ugly. And quite frankly, with the waves, you don't even see them in my tank.
I know. Most every tank now is black on the back, right?
Correct.
And you don't see, even in my 34-gallon tank, I run a wave in that tank, right? I made a lot of design decisions because I knew that I wanted to run a wave, and I knew that I was going to be running SPS.
34-gallon tank.
Right. And so I don't have any sand in my tank, or if I do, it's very minimal and underneath rocks, right? And then I decided to use calcium reactor media, which we've talked about before. But, one thing I do with my wave right away is I have it in that 34-gallon tank, but pointed right at the side glass. Right? And that side glass takes all that momentum, and I just have this gyre that moves, in a circle in the tank. And I was looking at it today, and I'm just like, even with all the coral growth that I have now, and the literally colonies growing in a 34-gallon tank, I have like 9 of them at this point.
Your tank is growing like crazy right now. It's in the mode of like it's going out of control.
It's like I frag things, and it's like, where did you frag it? And because 2 weeks later, there's already growth coming back there, right?
For sure. But your tank too, people, obviously this is like an infomercial. I don't care right now, to be honest with you, because our stuff works.
Yes.
So, but your tank, again, since you put the Trident on and since you put the dose on,
it's all about that stability.
It has just exploded in growth and the stability, and it really is. And I changed our kind of our marketing and our booth graphics and everything. Is like, stability, right? It's all about stability. And it really is, and you now have stability in your temperature. You can monitor the stability in your pH. You can monitor the stability in your salinity. You can monitor the stability now in your alkalinity, calcium, magnesium. You get all of that. Everything in the tank just feels better, and it lives better, and it's not trying to adjust all the time. And all it spends its energy on is growing and getting great color.
I've been saying for the longest time, the best thing that the Apex offers, right, is insight to how your aquarium is running, right? Whether that be just for temperature, right? If you're in a temperate zone where you have, very hot summers, very cold winters, right, you have constant temperature fluctuation. Once you minimize that fluctuation to less than a degree a day, your tank sets into that, right? If you're looking at my graphs right now, you can see that alkalinity is kind of going along there. I don't know if you can kind of watch it. It's literally 0.1 DKH. It's been that way for the last 7 days.
That's amazing.
And I haven't. I made a small adjustment to my calcium, not my calcium, my alkalinity dosing. Small adjustment 2 weeks ago because what I had was I have almost 70% of my additive happening during the day. Right, that's when all my consumption is. And I noticed that my 8 p.m. alkalinity measurement was always really high. Right, and that's because I had my alkalinity going all the way till 7 p.m. where my lights start to turn off and turn down around 6. Right? I go all the way off at 7. So all I did was just adjust that time from 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock all the way to 6 o'clock, and everything equaled out. Right, just
cool.
2 hours.
And you can
of
see
adjustment.
all of that too. And click on your graph there. So this is one thing I want to tell people too, because once you start getting things dialed in, you're going to look at a graph like this and you're going to go, it doesn't look like everything's dialed in. There's not a straight line. And that's because of the scale on the graph. What you want to do is scroll down on that, and you can actually see the variance when you scroll down over 7 days. As soon as Paul gets
I don't know why it did
what
that.
he's doing.
It was one to show alkalinity.
You got to hit the little button to get the keyboard down.
Well, where's sorry guys.
Yeah, so if you look down there on the bottom, right, you'll see that he has his minimum, his average, and the maximum, right? And if I can't see the whole thing.
Here, I got it. I will show you.
There it is. So is that right? 7.8 to 8.21?
Right. So you have this one artifact that's really low. That's when I actually run out of alkalinity reagent.
That's the 7.8.
Right?
So if you were to throw that one out, you're at like 8 to 8.21 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, all of these are just really nice and tight. So
0.1 swing, and it makes a huge difference in your aquarium.
One thing cool too is you can kind of see that's what happens too in my alkalinity dosing. Right.
So and you have the controlled dosing, right?
Right. So
now, one of the key things too, Paul, that I think a lot of people, I just want to keep reiterating it, is that this is completely safe.
Yes.
Because the way that we've done the automatic dosing control from the Trident is such that you set a baseline value, and if it ever gets a reading that's like super crazy, it just goes back to that baseline value.
So I say, you know what, my tank should always consume 40 milliliters of alkalinity a day, and that's what I have set up, right? It'll flex up to as high as 65 milliliters and as low as 30 milliliters,
right?
Okay, but if for some reason I suddenly show an alkalinity range that is more than my control range, right? My control range is about 8.5, right? If I ever show that, it's just going to go back to 35 milliliters a day. Right. It's just going to go and say, hey, I don't know what that's about.
And then you're going to look and go, hey, what's going on?
And I can get an alert about that and know about it, right? And you know, so if something goes on the fritz, you run out of reagent, don't worry about it, right? We're just going to dose what you always told us to dose. Right. You know?
So the, Matt Dudley's on here. Matt Dudley was on Control Freak Wednesdays. If you guys haven't heard of Control Freak Wednesdays, on every other Wednesday, I try to go to one of you guys, one of the Control Freak hobbyists, and see what you're doing. I have one gentleman that's in the Navy. He's a Navy diver who just contacted me recently and was just telling me how much he appreciated having the Apex when he goes on these 4-month deployments.
Oh my gosh.
And his wife is there. He's like, I wouldn't be able to have an aquarium if it wasn't for you guys. And he's going to hopefully be on Control Freak Wednesday coming up.
That's so cool.
And Matt Dudley was on there, and Matt Dudley was just saying, yeah, I run 6 MP60s, 4 waves, and 2 red dragons. On 8 returns. Flow is the key, so it really is the key to a great aquarium.
Flow is the key because, you know, a lot of times, like, you know, I see a lot of people have trouble, you know, with getting dirty sand beds and all these different things. You need to export that nutrient so it can get down into your filtration.
Yeah, absolutely. You get it up into. That's why I put mine again 5 minutes every hour. At 100%, just that it just starts moving everything around.
And part of it too is, you know, you don't need a lot of turnover either, right? You need that water to stay down in your filtration for a little while so that nutrient can be consumed down there. That nutrient can be exported, right? So it's not about necessarily having the biggest return pump.
Yeah, this was a thing like 2 years ago, right? With the Trident guys came out and they
10 times turnover.
Like 10 times turnover, 10 times turnover.
They still say that. I don't get it.
To be honest with you, there aren't many aquariums that are going to have 10 times turnover, no matter how hard you try.
How much flow would you need to do 10 times turnover in this?
In this tank, I would need 6,000 gallons per hour, okay? And let me tell you that this tank right now turns about 1,000 to 1,150 gallons per hour. It's a 425-gallon aquarium with a 200-gallon sump. And when you see 1,000 gallons of water coming an hour coming out of a 2-inch pipe down below the house, it's like a fire hose coming out.
I know.
And if 6 times that, there's no way it's possible. And then you look at somebody's tank that's got 150 gallons,
right,
and you go 1,500 gallons per hour, and they're like, well, that's possible because I can get one of these 2,000 gallon per hour, wave pumps. But the fact is, you're not going to get 2,000 gallons per hour out of that.
No.
It's not going to happen. By the time you choke it down on 3/4 inch pipe, or even if you use 1 1/4 pipe, and you do it perfectly, you're going to get maybe 1,000 gallons, 1,200 gallons per hour out of it because of all the head pressure.
Yeah.
Big boss Ted here, exaggerated emotions. I love him. He comes in all the time. It's great. Thanks, Big Boss Ted, for joining us, man.
Big Boss, we're just really passionate about what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Terence
absolutely.
and I both. That's one thing that the culture in our company, right, is you have a bunch of really passionate reefers.
Absolutely.
Right? Guys that are really into aquariums and want to making that aquarium as stable as possible, and making products that help promote that.
So Jason Garcia says he wants to see an overlay, that shows where your Trident control is at, max high it will control, max low it control, and this helps dialing in parameters for the Trident controller. I don't know if he's answering somebody else or he's asking you to show that. That's on the graph, isn't it, with those lines?
Yeah. So I showed that a second ago.
So here's another one too. George says he's got 7 MP40s. Hey George, dump at least 2 of those MP40s, add a couple of waves in, and you're going to get more flow. I have to say it, man.
They're good pumps, The
MP40s are great pumps. They really are, okay? But I'm telling you now that there's a point for everything. There's a purpose for everything. And the moment you get those earmuffs off your tank and use a super powerful directed pump from the back of your tank that points at the glass, and you don't have to see the earmuffs, the better you're going to be.
I agree with you, Terence. People get fixated on the wire in the tank. I hate when the side view is obstructed.
Right.
I hate it.
Yeah, in my house here, I've got a view that goes to my dining room over here. I have a view that goes to the hallway on the other side, and I've got the front view. The last thing I want to do is have something occlude that view.
Exactly. So I think this is what you're looking
George
for.
is like, okay, T, we'll do. You guys know best.
This is my control limits right now, right? So the upper control limit's about 8. I think is about 8.5.
Okay.
The lower control limit is about 7.7.
That's what these lines are?
Yep, 7.7. Okay. The dosing schedule that I have for this is...
So for those of you that are joining us late or joined us a few minutes ago, it is Black Friday. 10% on everything except the Tridents that are out there. $50 off the Core 20 pump and $30 off the ATK V3 while supplies last at all of our dealers from today until Monday at midnight. So get in there and get that stuff.
So, and this is my alkalinity schedule, right? So you can see the bulk of my alkalinity happens between the daylight hours of 8 and 6 p.m.
Yeah,
right?
Literally almost all of it.
All of it happens about then, and then I put in a little bit at night, right? I put basically a third of it in at night, a third of it in during the day. And I really let the Trident flex in. So I have a 50% control level, which means that it could literally do half as much, right? So it could go up to roughly 35 milliliters, 40 milliliters during the day.
So you have a much bigger tolerance range.
Yes, the default is 30%, right?
So I don't want to confuse people either.
Right.
So out of the box with the tasks that you run the automated controlled dosing, we set all of these things.
We set all of these things for you because
for the average that everybody would most likely use.
Right, and the only reason why that I have it going the way I do is all I got to do to get more reagent is just walk about 20 feet to the back, right? So I'm testing I think 12 times a day.
Are you saying we have big jugs of reagent somewhere?
What I'm saying is I have access to reagent very easily.
Yes.
So I test 12 times a day with my Trident.
12?
Yes.
Man, you are liberal with that. I do 6.
Well, I mean...
I do 6, Paul.
Okay. That's why I have it 50% though. So, I mean, the results speak for themselves.
Right.
On top of that, my calcium is roughly just all the same all the time.
Right.
Right. There's not ebbs and flows of calcium consumption.
Okay, cool. Any more questions that you guys have? for Black Friday kickoff.
We didn't talk much about the ATK.
We didn't talk about.
You want to talk about that?
Sure, sure.
So the ATK is on special. Normally it's 200, and right now it's 170, right? And Neptune Systems released version 2 of the ATK this year, okay? And the big difference between version 1 to version 2 was, well, maybe before I'm getting ahead of myself, right? So the ATK, you know, is a standalone product, number one, okay?
Automatic top-off kit for topping off your aquarium. Has a built-in bracket that has not just one, but 2 sensors on it.
It has 3 levels of redundancy in terms of overfill. The first level of redundancy is the actual control flow switch, right? Optical sensor, I should say, right? It controls the water level to a very small
So there's one sensor for the main water level where it's going to hit.
Then there's a top sensor, which is the high alert sensor, right? So if it were to ever get that high, the pump is also supposed to
that one never gets used except in an emergency.
Yes. And then if that is not enough, if let's say a gravity siphon is happening or something goes wrong, who knows,
your water
right?
level goes up.
There's a float valve that'll also stop the flow.
Old school kind of way of doing it.
Right. Now, if you were to rely on any one of those things, it wouldn't be enough.
Right.
Right. If you've been doing this long enough, it's not a matter of when it will not. It's not a matter of if it will fail. It's always a matter of when it will fail.
Right.
Right. And then on top of that, then we have a new version, a pump in there that has out of water detection, that has overcurrent protection.
That's the PMUP Practical Multi-Purpose Utility Pump version 2.
Yes, and it could, it's a great little design that fits in any Dell tank or anything like that, right? And it can be used for a lot of different applications, but in the ATK it's supposed to be designed for auto top-off. If you're one of those people that just want to hook up your RO system directly to your tank, you have that option as well. I don't recommend it, but you can use our solenoid valve instead of the PMUP.
Right, solenoid valve is a great addition to the ATK V2 too. You can have kind of, it's like a double redundancy, or maybe you can just use the PMUP for some other purpose, like a carbon reactor or something like that, if you wanted to. Let's see, we've got a question here. I have an EL model. What do I need to use the 0 to 10? Paul, you can answer that.
You need to get a variable dimming module, the VDM module. It retails at $100 or today at $90. Okay, so if you need that. The VDM will allow you to control Apex Ready products or Apex Ready Plus products that use the variable dimming port. It allows you to control DIY options and things like that. Terence uses the variable dimming port on his Apex, or I think he actually has a VDM module for it. But
I think I use like 8 channels of 0 to 10.
Right, exactly. And you use specifically use that for your Abyss pump.
Use it for the Abyss pump. I use it for the Coral Care pumps. I use it for the Reef Bright strips. I think that's it.
I use the variable dimming port on my aquarium for my little Tunzi 6040. I love that Tunza pump. It is great because I have it very low on the other side of my tank.
That's the one that has a little like cup thing over it?
And it just pushes all that water that comes around to that side. If something were to settle down there, it just pushes that water right up into the water column again.
Right.
And I have that running basically opposite of my wave.
Okay.
Right. So I create a lot of pulsing action with my power head. I go up to about 35% power with my wave. But in that Tunzi it gets up to about 100% power.
Cool.
Yeah.
Somebody asked a question.
Ooh, very good, Derek.
Yeah, Derek
I am impressed.
Derek is really doing a good job. Yeah, especially on one. He's got one wrong, 2 wrong. Let's see, he's got those right.
You've got a couple. So there is not a mystery wrasse in this tank.
Hey, you're not supposed to say anything.
It's fine, but there's another. It looks almost like a mystery wrasse.
Yes, but it's not a mystery wrasse.
It's not a mystery wrasse. No 6 lines either.
Yes.
I hate those fish.
And yes, there is a sea swirl in there in the tank. There's 2 sea swirls in the tank. I love them. There's definitely some cool things actually happened in this tank with the sea swirl. It's a little aside here, and we're almost going to be closing this thing out. But one thing that's really cool that's happened in this tank that I can't really show off the coral right now, but I actually had a hybridization kind of cross happen in the aquarium between a purple stag that I had in the tank and the slime ball anacropora that was caused by the sea squirrel scraping on the anacropora and blowing its proteins directly into the stag. And now I have a purple stag with green and purple polyps.
It's great.
That is pretty amazing. So I can only attribute that to the sea swirl. So thank you, sea swirl, for that one.
They're great. They're great.
Is there a way to get an alarm if you go outside the control limits and it reverts to default, or you just have to set your alarm limits to match your control limits?
Is there a way to get an alarm if you go outside the control limit that it reverts to default, or do you have to? No, it's just going to do that automatically, right? So if it ever goes outside the control limits, right? Once you're outside the control limits, it's going to immediately fall back to what it should be doing all the time, right? So if you say that I want to control my alkalinity between 8.2 and 8.3, I wouldn't recommend that. You won't get good results with it. You have to have a little bit of flex. But if for some reason you wanted it to be that rigid, okay, that if it ever got to 8.3, it would immediately fall back to above 8.3, so 8.31, it would immediately fall back to the normal nominal dose.
Right.
So.
Right, and you shouldn't have them that tight.
No.
I think a general rule of thumb, though, is if you do want to have a tighter amount of like range for your DKH, you're going to have to test more to be able to be...
It's not necessarily even that. The big thing that you need to do if you want a tight range, you have to basically be within, you have to let it flow between about 0.3. Okay? So you said 8.2, say you can go down to 8, and say you can go up to as high as 8.4. Okay? Make the Trident have the ability to flex in a lot of dosing, or not flex in a lot of dosing.
So increase over what the default amount is. Okay, that's good.
And I find in that situation that that actually gives the best results, because you're giving the Trident room to push on the brake and step on the gas.
I see, for both ways.
Yeah.
Okay, what else do we have here? The Core 15 isn't on sale.
It's 10% off, right?
It's 10% off. Yes.
So it's not super discounted, but
so that means it's $270 instead of $300. I think. I think that's what it goes for. So it's not quite the deal, but it's still on sale. What else? We have any questions? Lucas, I love the sea swirls. Thank you very much. 12-gallon nano. Yep. Awesome for calling out all of the fish. Pretty close. I mean, there's a few in there that quite aren't right, but awesome. Great, Nathan, to be participating also. For those of you that want to, we're going to be closing down this live stream here in a few minutes. So if you're looking at the tank, I'm going to click over onto the tank cam so you guys get another look at some of the fish.
One thing we didn't mention about the Core 20, though, Terence, I wanted to add as well, is that it can run standalone or connected. Right?
Yes.
And in standalone mode, it has a driver where you have buttons, and our button pushes give a very fine degree of increment. A lot of DC pumps out there, you change the button, it's going to change by almost 15%.
That's true. So a lot of them some of the most popular ones, they might only have 5 settings on there.
Yes.
Some of them might have 7 or 8. We have 16 levels of gradation of control on the flow rate.
On the standalone version.
On the standalone.
Now, if you have a connected version, right? On the connected version, you can get within single of percents, right? Actually, percent of percents if you get really geeky with it. You have to do a little bit of profile stuff. But anyways,
now you're really getting into
Sorry, I said a bad word, profile. But with that being said, one thing that's something that the Core 20 offers. It has IQ level, right? So if you know that it should never go above 70%, right? You can say 70% is 100.
So IQ level is very important, and it is available standalone or in the connected version. What it does is it sets the personal minimum and maximum, right, for your tank. So it sets what the feed mode level is going to be, but more importantly, it sets what the maximum is. So one of the key reasons I don't think a lot of people think about with this one, and why this is important, is you may have children in the house, you may have people around that all of a sudden like buttons, and they come and push the buttons on your return pump, and they go up, 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 and your return pump, or your return itself, right, can't handle that, your overflow. And you're going to have a real problem
You have a
very
real bad
fast.
situation real quick.
But with the Core, you can set with IQ level what your level is. So in other words, what that means is your 100% might be 50% of the capacity of the pump. So when somebody hits up, 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 and goes to 100%, it's really the maximum that your overflow can allow.
Exactly. And that's something that our pump offers both in the standalone and the connected version, right?
People are having fun with this, Paul. I'm just letting you know. People are going back and forth. Like, looks like a dragon spot or an orange spot goby, a dragon goby, a purple firefish.
It does have a purple firefish.
It's like they're just going off. So this is great.
I love it.
Well, guys,
you're going to have to post the complete list.
I will have to. I'm going to have to write it down, which I haven't ever done in a long time. But there's my Heniochus, Paul.
I hate that fish.
There's the Heniochus right in front of me here. Gosh. Let's go to the main shot. See, we got my favorite fish of all in the tank right now, because I don't have my flame in here anymore. Is my powder blue tang, which is literally about 7 or 8 inches long. I've had him for now a couple of years. He's an amazing fish.
Shout out to Robert at Neptune Aquatics.
Yeah, Robert at Neptune Aquatics actually got that fish for me, and he is amazing. The Heniochus are now almost as big as he is.
Oh, the Jeffrey's coming. He is. Sorry.
You're not supposed to say what he is. He's coming
along.
Let's see. If I put my hand here, he might come, because he's going to think I'm feeding him.
Love this fish.
Yeah, he's a great fish.
Yeah.
There are some great fish.
That was one fish that I told you not to get, and you got it anyways, and I'm so glad you have proven me wrong that it is still doing good.
And then the one in the back there that looks like what most people think is a copper band in the back.
Nope, not a copper band.
Nope, not a copper band.
All right, just gave you a hint.
Yeah, that's a hint for sure.
All right.
Look, George got a good list in here. Orchid dotty back, bangais, squirrels, hippo. There's a lot in there that aren't quite right, man.
Nope, not a lot.
There's a lot that aren't quite right.
Anyways.
Ornate leopard, huh?
Are we wrapping?
We're wrapping, man. We're done. Right. Hey, you know what? One person said, Paul, that they wanted to see fireplace. So I had to in honor of the fireplace from yesterday that was fake.
That was awesome, by the way. That was the best green screen.
Here is the real deal. So we probably have to record this so we can do a real green screen of the real house.
Yeah.
Later on. Yeah. So for those of you that want to know, that's the real fireplace instead of the fake fireplace. So there you go. Now you know, as they say. All right, guys. Again, Black Friday. It's now till Monday. 10% off everything except the Trident. $50 off the core. $30 off the ATK. Get out there. Get the stuff before it's gone, because once it's gone, Black Friday's over and you're done.
Yep.
And we will be back on again at 1 p.m. Pacific. That's 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday for Black Friday, on site, on location, at a local fish store, Neptune Aquatics in San Jose, California. The best local fish store. I think it's in the top 5 in the country. Oh, yeah. Probably the best on the West Coast. It's amazing, and that's nobody should feel any shame from any other local fish store, because it is a high bar to hit what Robert has done there. Mm-hmm. And then Monday we'll be live again. Don't know the time yet for closing out.
Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday. So thank you guys for joining us. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your fish, of course. Enjoy your families. Be thankful for everything that you have. We appreciate you, and we're thankful for you as customers, as control freaks, and we'll see you the next time that you're online with us.
Thank you, guys. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Now we close.